And welcome to Informed Sources on News Channel 3, where we talk about the week's big stories with local voices. I'm your host, Mary Beth Conley. Greg Hurst has the week off. We appreciate you joining us, and in just a moment I'll introduce our first guest. But first, here are tonight's hot topics. We're now less than 3 weeks away from the August 4th election in Tennessee. There are literally dozens of races on the ballot, including just about every judgeship in West Tennessee. Now, why should you care about those races? We'll take a closer look at that. We'll also discuss some big changes coming to public school funding in Tennessee. The state is overhauling how it pays for education, and we'll talk about how TISA will affect schools right here in Memphis and your child's education. And a bit later, building up a better Memphis. The Greater Memphis Chamber of Commerce is reaching out to business owners and stakeholders in many of the city's underserved communities. We'll have more on their plan to make sure no neighborhood is left behind. We begin tonight with the upcoming election. Voters in Shelby County and across Tennessee are already casting their ballots. Early voting for the August 4th election began Friday, and you do need to be warned, the ballot is a very long one. Not only do we have the primaries for Tennessee's seats in Congress, the State General Assembly, and the governor's race, it's also the general election for county government, and the judiciary. In that election, it comes up only every 8 years, where you have to vote on dozens of judicial races from the Tennessee Supreme Court all the way down to your local General Sessions Court judges. Now, to talk about the importance of those judicial races, I'm joined by Josh Spickler from Just City and Ayanna Watkins from the Memphis Interfaith Coalition for Action and Hope. Thank you so much. I confess, I've been in the media for 40 years, and I did not know that Tennessee is the only state with 8-year terms for judges and for the district attorney, meaning that if a judge or the district attorney is not serving the interests of the community in the way the community wishes, it's a very long time before he or she can be replaced. Josh, let's start with you. Obviously, Just City works on criminal justice issues. This has got to concern you.
Yeah, 8 years is a long time, but we do have a voice, and that's why this time of year and this election is so critical. It's most of a decade. We wish it were shorter. It would provide, I think, a little more accountability, but it's state law, and so I know a lot of people have been hard at work trying to get the community and the voters informed, and we're going to do the best we can, and at Just City we're going to keep court watching and keep the accountability and the pressure on, no matter who's in those offices or for how long.
All right, and the judgeships are, I don't want to say more obscure races, but let's face it, with congressional races on the ballot, the governor's office on the ballot, obviously we're looking at the top of the ticket. Is that one of the concerns of Micah, that voters may not have any idea who is a sitting judge or who wants to replace a sitting judge?
Absolutely, and that's why we want to make sure that people not only get to the ballot, but get all the way down the ballot.
Right.
Make all the decisions that you can, even if you're not sure. Make all the decisions that you can, and we, Micah, will do our job to help you get as informed as we can.
What's the best way for me prior to primary day, election day, August 4th, to learn about some of the folks running? Many are lawyers, but if I've never interacted with the legal community here, I would have no idea. If you've never interacted with a court locally, and many people haven't, you wouldn't have any idea. What's the best way for us to find out beforehand who some of these people are and where they stand?
Well, one of the great things about having a lot of us in the field working towards this election and having an eye on how important it is that there are multiple candidate forums going on right now. And so get your eyes on those candidate forums. Most of these are streaming live as well as in person.
Okay.
So you can check in on them. The DA forum, 2 DA forums have taken place already, one of which is available on Facebook Watch as well.
I've watched that one.
And then we have a judicial ballot that we're focusing on with Micah and the Justice and Safety Alliance on July 25th.
Okay.
That one will be live at Promised Land, but also streamed to our Facebook page.
And I would point out that the Memphis Bar Association does a judicial qualification poll that is available online, so lawyers are asked which judges they choose, and then if folks chapter of the National Bar Association has also done a lot of work to vet some of these judges, and their recommendations are on their Facebook page.
So can I go so far as to say if we go to justcity.org, we might find where to go online, or should people just Google? What's the easiest?
Yeah, Googling is good. You can find some of this information on our social media. As a 501c3, we aren't endorsing, and so we're not pointing people to people who are endorsing, but on our social media channels and the Justice and Safety Alliance will point you toward all those resources.
Truth in sentencing is one of the issues that has been a very hot topic. The District Attorney General's race is one of these races. It's much more high profile than judgeships, but it's a very important race. No, you cannot endorse in that race, correct?
That's correct.
Are you concerned? I know Josh and Just City very concerned about some of the truth in sentencing, the things that happen in that bill. Where it sounds, from talking points, sounds like a great idea. If someone is convicted of a violent felony and sentenced to 30 years, they ought to spend 30 years in prison. Why is it not perfect?
Right, that's the work of lawmaking, right? You have to make the title sound a particular way because you're trusting that people won't read all the way through the bill. But it's important for us to know, and at Micah, we feel strongly about having a conviction review unit. And it ties completely to the truth in sentencing part, because what if you were wrongly convicted? Then you're caught in the truth in sentencing. You have to serve that whole time out if there's no other mechanism for you to appeal your conviction. If there's
how many people there's not because of cost, or what?
In Shelby County, there's no conviction review unit. Now, if you ask our current DA, she'll tell you that her whole office is a conviction review unit. But per the standards that we look at nationally, a conviction review unit can sit inside of a district attorney's office but has some independence. And that's what we're pushing for, so that we can get sentencing laws that make sense after folks have had a rightful conviction.
And there is one in Nashville, correct, Josh?
In Davidson County.
Yes, there is. And this is one more reason why these elections are so important. Not only are the folks that we'll elect doing the day-to-day business of criminal justice in this community, they influence policy. Shelby County is a very large county. We have a lot of judges. We have a very powerful DA in the District Attorney General's Conference. And so there's a lot of influence at the state level. It's not just about what happens in these courtrooms in Shelby County every day. It's about the policies we're setting for the state of Tennessee for the future. And truth in sentencing is a bad one. And it was put in place by some of these same elected officials that we'll have a chance to review and vote for in the next couple weeks.
But arguing for it, it does sound like it makes sense to the average person, and the argument is that it will reduce crime. Yes?
Right.
No?
Well,
Why
that's
not?
the argument. But there's quite a bit of evidence to suggest that the severity, the length of sentences doesn't really have an impact on crime, on keeping people from committing that crime. We crossed that line a long time ago. And as Ayanna said, like, we're branding this truth in sentencing. Who wouldn't agree that you should understand the sentence that you get? I agree with that. But what this has been used for is to extend sentences into wildly expensive and wildly punitive territory that's not going to result in the things that they claim. It's just not. We've proven that.
Well, and that's just one example of why we really need to pay attention to some of these down-ballot races that are a bit more obscure to the overly busy, distracted voter. Thank you so much for helping. We've put your websites on the screen so that people can find out about your work.
Thank you.
Well, when we come back, changing the way Tennessee funds education. The state's new funding formula is known as TISA, and it will soon come into effect. But how will it affect your child's education? That's coming up next on Informed Sources.